Rabbit Hole Roundup, episode 120. Top 5 funniest donkey moments from Shrek 1 and 2. And also NBA playoffs are getting spicy. So guys, in today's edition of the Rabbit Hole Roundup, we of course have our latest top 5 list being top 5 funniest donkey moments from Shrek. And as all of us know, Donkey, who is voiced by Eddie Murphy, is absolutely hilarious.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
You don't get Shrek without Donkey, as any real Shrek fans know. And also, as all of us know, Shrek 1 and 2 were the two best ones. I mean, all the others after that were actually really good, I still think. But Shrek 2 happens to be, my personal favorite. So many great moments, so, we're gonna have a lot of fun with that list. Following that, I'll be talking about a post I saw the other day coming from The Optimist on TikTok, where they spoke about, 5 theories for calming the mind. So, I'm gonna help you, see how to employ those into your own lives, because all these are super powerful. After that, I have 2 clips I want to share coming from Bob Marley's son, Ziggy Marley, when he went on Joe Madden's podcast a few weeks ago. And so these clips talk about, protecting your peace, and not over-worrying or hyper-fixating on everything going on, in the outside world, because, of course, change starts within.
Little thing, gonna be a... That's not the way you sing that song, man.
And the other clip is about, the healing frequency of music. The true healing frequency. Because, of course, Ziggy Marley is also a musician himself. Following that, I have a clip coming from NBA trainer PJF Performance about why having a love for the game is so important if you want to get better. And this is also why, having bad teammates or bad coaches who create a toxic environment is very dangerous to keep them around. And finally, we've got NBA playoffs talk, as well as MLB news, and whatever else I may come across. So anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper now. Rabbit hole time, let's go.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, it must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts on the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All links to purchase it are on my website, which is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me. Every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton. So any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very greatly appreciated. So let's dive deeper into this rabbit hole now. So to start things off, we have our latest top 5 list being top 5 funniest donkey moments coming from Shrek 1 and 2. Because as all of us real Shrek fans know, 1 and 2 were by far the best ones. Having said that, I did also love the others too, but Shrek 1 and 2 were just amazing. Shrek 2 is my personal favorite, and 1 is amazing as well. And where would Shrek be without his noble steed, Donkey, who's voiced by Eddie Murphy?
You still look like a noble steed to me.
So similar to my recent episode about Patrick Starr's best moments, we're looking at Donkey's funniest moments for today. So first up, you have when Donkey is trying to join Shrek, and Shrek just wants to be alone. And Shrek goes to Donkey, "Look at me, what am I?" And Donkey goes, really tall? And Shrek of course shouts back, "No, I'm an ogre."
Take a look at me! What am I?
Really tall?
No! I'm an ogre!
Doesn't that bother you? And Donkey goes, "No." And then Shrek goes, "Really?" Donkey goes, "Really, really?"
Doesn't that bother you?
Nope.
Really?
Really.
Then of course this is more of a 1B. But so they get to Shrek's house in the swamp, and Donkey's trying to convince Shrek to let him live with him. And as soon as Shrek caves, Donkey rushes in and starts saying, "We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles." Classic line, hilarious.
We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
Number 2, sticking with Shrek 1, you of course have the back and forth between Shrek and Donkey, where Shrek is trying to explain to Donkey how ogres have layers. So Shrek goes, "Ogres are like onions." And Donkey goes, "They stink?" And Shrek goes, "Yes, no!" "Will they make you cry?" "No!" "Will you leave them out in the sun so long and they start sprouting these little white hairs?" "No!"
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No.
Oh, they make you cry?
No.
Oh, you leave them out in the sun, they get all brown, start sprouting little white hairs.
Of course, a semi-valid crash out coming from Shrek. Onions have layers, ogres have layers. End of story. And then my 2B from the scene, because like it is also part of the same scene. And then Donkey goes, well, you know, not everybody likes onions, but everybody likes cakes. Cakes have layers. And Shrek goes, no!
You know, not everybody like onions. Cake! Everybody loves cakes. Cakes have layers.
I don't care.
And then following that, Donkey also goes, you know what else everybody likes? Parfaits. I never met anybody that didn't like no parfaits. Parfaits are absolutely delicious, and Shrek goes, no! Again.
You know what else everybody like? Parfaits. And you say, hey, let's get some parfaits. They say, hell no, I don't like no parfaits. Parfaits are delicious.
No.
And then Donkey pauses and goes, you know, parfaits may be like the most delicious thing on the planet. Number 3, still coming from Shrek 1, you have like the scene where both of them enter Duloc, and they're of course wondering where is everybody, and they stumble upon like this setup which had like a wayward song to it. You know, like the whole "Welcome to Duloc, such a perfect town."
Welcome to Duloc, such a perfect town. Shine your shoes, wipe your face.
And then like at the end of it, it takes their picture, and Donkey goes, wow, let's do that again. And Shrek goes, no.
Wow. Let's do that again.
No.
Number 4, my 4th favorite Donkey moment coming from Shrek. This one's coming from Shrek 2. We have like one of the early scenes where they're on their way to the kingdom of far, far away to meet Fiona's parents. And then Donkey keeps saying, are we there yet? And Shrek goes, yes. And then Donkey goes, really? No!
Are we there yet?
Yes.
Really?
No.
And he keeps on asking the same question until Shrek starts like imitating him.
Are we there
Are we
yet?
there yet?
Hey, that's
Hey,
not
that's
funny.
not funny.
Hey, that's really
That's
immature.
really immature.
And then goes, the kingdom of far, far away is far, far away.
The kingdom of far, far away, donkey. Far away.
And Donkey goes, I'm just so damn bored. There's no in-flight entertainment or something? And then Shrek goes, well, find a way to entertain yourself.
Shrek, and ain't no in-flight movie or nothing. I'm just so darn bored.
Well, find a way to entertain yourself.
And then, of course, Donkey starts popping his mouth. Hilarious scene. And coming in at number 5, also coming from Shrek 2, we're gonna have like a 5A and 5B once again. So first we have like when Shrek, Donkey, and Puss are all like wanted criminals. And they're showing them like on screen as like part of a TV show Cops.
Tonight on Nights.
Now here's a good show.
And as the cops are taking down Donkey, who's like now a stallion, he shouts out, "Police brutality! Police brutality!"
Police brutality! Police brutality!
Now, of course, the reason why this is supposed to be funny is because Eddie Murphy is black. And then right after you have Puss, who's voiced by Antonio Banderas, Mexican. And the cops like find drugs on him.
Catnip.
That's no mine. Hold on.
A joke that like a younger person wouldn't have got. And then the 5B, because like this is of course the following scene, they're all in jail. And Donkey goes, "You're supposed to tell me I have the right to remain silent. Someone tell me I have the right to remain silent." And then Shrek goes, "Donkey, you have the right to remain silent. What you lack is the capacity."
You're supposed to say I have the right to remain silent. Nobody said I have the right to remain silent.
You have the right to remain silent. What you lack is the capacity.
And then also like part of that scene too, Donkey's like telling Pinocchio to make up a lie, and he goes, "Say something crazy like I'm wearing ladies' underwear,"
Say something crazy like I'm wearing ladies' underwear.
which of course Pinocchio was. Anyways, those are my 5 favorite Donkey moments coming from Shrek 1 and 2. And also like an honorable mention would also be like when he sings "I'm a Believer" at the end of Shrek 1. I've always cracked up at like the dancing bear in that scene. And then of course like Shrek 2, you have him singing "Livin' La Vida Loca" at the end of that movie. But anyways, that's my list. Let me know if I missed anything, and like let me know what your favorite Donkey scenes and moments are. Now next, I came across a post coming from the Optimist account on TikTok that's to do with 5 theories that are going to help to calm your mind. So now let's go through these together. So first up, we have the let them theory. When someone acts distant, my brain immediately starts trying to fix the situation. The let them theory basically says if someone wants to pull away, just let them. Weirdly, it removes the anxiety because you stop chasing control. So this is of course Mel Robbins' theory, which I'm a huge fan of. I've read the book and I've also listened to many of her podcasts on the topic. Now for some reason I've also seen this theory get a bunch of hate online, probably just grifters, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, I'm getting a vibe here.
It's if this works for you and it resonates for you, great. But you have psychologists out there coming out with this whole appeal to authority, logical fallacy. I'm playing that card and I'm just is this really hurting anyone? And also, you don't need to be an expert to give advice that helps people. I'm not claiming that Mel Robbins is perfect by any means. There's plenty of things that I've disagreed with her on, but this theory is great. It helps you to detach from the bad behaviors of others and realize how these aren't actually a reflection on you. Now it's not about allowing people to walk all over you and to treat you badly, but it's about taking back your power and realizing you can control others, and how most of their behavior and their actions are a reflection on them and whatever they're going through, and it doesn't actually say anything about you. And of course the other half of that theory is now let me. So let them think what they want about me, and let them do whatever it is that they're doing, but let me take the right action and also work on myself, because those things I do have control over. Next up we have the spotlight effect. When I'm anxious in public, I assume everyone notices every awkward thing I do. Spotlight effect says people are usually too busy thinking about themselves to notice. Once you remember that, social anxiety loses some of its power. So I'm actually going to push back on this one just a little bit. I recently listened to a Case Kenny podcast where he was saying how this idea that no one cares about us and no one's ever watching us or thinking about us is actually a lie, and I'd have to agree with that. You're telling me that if someone walked through the streets naked, you wouldn't have anything to say? Or you wouldn't care or wouldn't notice it at all?
The short, stocky, bald man is streaking across the field.
Hey, bodysuit man! What's up? Hey, bodysuit man!
Of course you wouldn't. You'd probably be telling that story to others too. However, the main thing here is that most of the time, we're actually our own harshest critics. And we're the ones who hyperfixate on all of our flaws. That skin blemish we have, or that shot that we airballed in basketball, most other people are going to forget about that a minute later. But I know I tend to hold on to these things and replay them in my mind. And so this is of course where theory like this could be helpful, and a helpful reminder to us. Then we have the 5-minute rule. When I'm overwhelmed, even simple tasks feel impossible to start. The rule is just telling yourself you'll do the thing for 5 minutes. Most of the time, starting is the part your brain was resisting. This is very true. When you have a lot of things on your to-do list, you get overwhelmed and have a whole paralysis by analysis thing going on. So I have totally found just getting started and telling yourself you're just going to do this thing for 5 minutes. Once you build that flow and rhythm and gain some momentum, suddenly the task becomes doable. Number 4, we have the brain dump method. When a bunch of thoughts are sitting in my head, they start repeating themselves louder and louder. The brain dump idea is just getting everything out of your head so it stops bouncing around. Sometimes I literally talk it out with my voiced AI twin because speaking thoughts makes them less scary. So I love this one. Maybe you think I'm crazy, but I'm always talking to myself out loud.
You're not crazy.
And in my head as well, and I'm also journaling every night. So don't be afraid to talk things out, even if it's just to yourself or to someone else. It's extremely cathartic and helps you to organize all of your thoughts. And finally, we have the do it badly rule. Perfectionism makes simple things feel way bigger than they actually are. This rule basically says do the thing badly instead of wanting to do it perfectly, instead of waiting to do it perfectly. Turns out progress usually starts messy anyway. I came across an Andy Grammer clip a few months ago where he was saying this exact same thing. Don't be concerned with making that hit perfect song, but just start writing songs and eventually you're going to come across something that's good. Same thing goes as a content creator. When you first start posting, you can't expect to be a pro right away. But you get started, find what you like posting about, find out what type of posts you can stick to long term, find out what posts are going to resonate with people and help people the most, especially if you're a genuine creator as I am. And over time you're going to start to find your voice more, and you're going to keep on getting better at it. Now next, but I want to share 2 clips coming from Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's son, when he went on Joe Madden's Artist Friendly podcast recently. So these clips are about like protecting your peace in a crazy world and also the true healing frequency of music. So let's watch this together now.
For me, how I see the world right now, and everybody looking on, things that's going on inside the material world, in physical world, gas price, whatever it is. But the battle really is the mental. That is where the real fight is. That is where the struggle really is. If them can like demoralize us mentally, like, and make with us stay in this funk of negative energy that they keep putting toward us, that is how we lose the battle, if we make them control this.
And the next clip.
And next thing we did on the record was I did 432 hertz, tune the instruments. Usually we tune in 440 hertz. Like when I tune my guitar, the keyboards, they're all in 440 hertz.
What's that do?
What it does for me and what it says on Google. And Google,
what ChatGPT says.
Yeah. Google says it's like it's more connected to the human frequency.
Yeah.
You talk about those classic reggae?
Yeah.
Those were, cause the tuning wasn't no big perfect 440, you understand me? So that interesting to me too. That's why I want to say that, them have a different thing about them, and we can't figure it out. Oh, maybe it was a different frequency they were in.
So first up, I love like how we spoke about protecting your peace in this crazy world, and how the real battle is like a mental thing. I of course had like an episode with a similar title a few months ago, but what he said here is like so spot on, because you can't affect change out there without first starting with what's going on within. If you don't work on yourself, change all of your inputs, and make yourself calm and like bring peace to yourself within, you're not going to be able to change the world out there. And this is something like a lot of people in our society have backwards. Everyone out there loves to complain, like point out all the problems in the world, and say things like, this is what's wrong with the world, it's all of you people, you're fat, you're ugly, you're lazy.
You people? You people? Oh.
And you're a bunch of losers and like yada yada yada. But it's easy to complain. It's easy to point out all the problems in the world, because of course there are a lot of them. But how many people are willing to look at the person in the mirror and like work on them? And of course, branching off this idea of like being the change that you wish to see in the world and like working on yourself and wanting to be part of the solution, I love to hear like how Ziggy's working on music that's tuned to 432 hertz. So I actually made videos about this like a while back now. Back when I was like more focused on making conspiracy content. But the frequency of music was in fact changed, and there have been studies that showed that like one frequency was more damaging to people's cells, damaging like, to people's moods, etc., while the other one was like healing to people, and was like way more healthy too. Now I'm not saying we have to stop listening to all music that isn't like tuned to this frequency, because I believe like we can all use things for different purposes, and all of us are also like receivers too. We're not just like taking in inputs and like giving an exact output. So even though like something may be coming in one way, I believe also like all of us have the power to transmute it and turn it into something good and positive. But having said that, it also doesn't hurt to have people who are making music at the healthier frequencies too, because all of us are physical beings as well. So like having that is gonna help us. Now finally, before diving into this week's sports recap, I want to share a clip coming from Paul Fabritz, aka PJF Performance, where he talks about like why having a love for the game is key to improving at it too.
The best athletes in the world can consistently access flow state, and your love for the game is the spark that ignites flow state. Let's talk.
You could force yourself to put in a certain amount of work, even if you don't love it, but you lose the spark. And that spark is the prerequisite to flow state. So for you to really go out and consistently reach flow state, you see guys having fun. Think about Steph Curry. He looks like he's loose, relaxed, having fun. He loves the game. He loves being out there. When you no longer love the game, you're no longer having fun with it, you lose that spark. And when you lose that spark, you ruin that whole neurochemical cocktail of the right amount of serotonin, the right amount of dopamine, the right amount of adrenaline. Once you lose love for the game, those levels are no longer there. And then you become a shell of what you used to be. And you're relying on maybe the skill that you developed as a kid back when you did love it, and you're just trying to hang on to that for as long as possible, but it slowly fades away, so you can only last so long.
Very well said. Now in the full episode, he was also talking about like how bad coaches and like I would also add bad teammates can definitely negatively impact your love for the game. Trust me, I've had plenty of experience with this.
I know from experience, dude.
Now, I've also like always loved proving doubters and like proving haters wrong, but for a period of time, I definitely had like this love-hate relationship with the game that like I always loved growing up. Now, I'm not gonna say like I ever stopped loving the game of basketball, because as you may or may not know, like it's always been a huge passion of mine. But for a period of time, I didn't love playing with or against others anymore. I only loved like playing by myself. I've always loved working on my own game, but recently, this past year, my brother, who's like my favorite teammate, best friend, he's actually helped me to fall in love with playing again in competitive environments. So starting with super competitive runs, and then we recently joined like a highly competitive men's league that actually has like some pro players as well as plenty of former college players too. But the difference here has been my surroundings. These teammates aren't screaming at or cursing at me. And also like I don't have a coach who's pulling me after every single mistake. And so I actually wasn't expecting it to go this well because of like how many bad experiences I've had in the past. But I'm starting to have fun with the game I love once again. And this is like a key healing journey like I've been on. And that's going to continue to be like a work in progress for me. Because having some of these like bad experiences with playing with others also made me extra hard on myself. But now it's like whenever I miss a shot, I may start like apologizing to people unconsciously. And everyone around me now is like, it's okay. Keep shooting. And of course, like I've always been that teammate to everyone else. And also like as a coach these days too, I make sure everyone out there has a positive experience. Because no one out there should ever hate the game due to bad coach or toxic teammates. And at one point, I do like plan on making a full video talking about like my healing journey to rediscovering my love for playing the game if things continue to go well, which like I expect they will. But Paul is so right here. When most players lose that love for the game, they're also going to lose like that drive to keep getting better. So this is why like at some point to make things fun and make getting better and playing competitively a fun, enjoyable experience, not a miserable one. You can be serious without being toxic. You can give someone constructive criticism without screaming at them and cursing at them and making them feel bad. So whether you're a coach, a player, or a teammate, know your personnel. And be kind and respectful to others. It's really not that hard. Don't be someone like who makes others hate this beautiful game. Anyways, on to the sports recap. Let's go now. So let's start things off in the NBA playoffs, where of course things have been heating up and like the Pistons are on the brink of getting bounced in the first round by the Magic. I was talking about it last week how like maybe the Magic are just like a bad matchup for the Pistons and like so much of the playoffs is going to come down to matchups. And so far in the series, Orlando has been like exploiting all of the Pistons' weaknesses. The biggest surprise I would say so far like has been Jalen Duren's production has gone down massively and he's been getting outplayed by Wendell Carter so far. He did play better last night, but like he hasn't been putting up his 20 and 10 that like he was during the regular season. On the other hand though, like you can't be blaming Tobias Harris. He's been doing his thing as like he has multiple 20 plus point games in this series. He's been shooting great. Cato was like 7 of 23 last night. But like both of those guys aren't really getting a ton of help on the scoring side. They're gonna really need like some big help from Duncan Robinson, like some of these other potential shooters. For the Magic though, like Desmond Bane has been shooting lights out. He had 5 threes last night, he had 7 in the game before. Now of course, the one potential positive for the Pistons is that like Franz Wagner might be hurt. But the Pistons are definitely in danger of being like the most recent 1 seed to get bounced by an 8 seed. Which is crazy because, especially after like last year's playoffs, and also like the Pistons' amazing regular season, all of us were thinking like this team had title written on their chests or whatever. And I'm still not counting out a comeback because like I expect them to win at home in Game 5, but like Tobias and Kid are going to need some more help on the scoring end. Now speaking of a potential 3-1 much needed comeback, the Nuggets did of course get like much better performance out of the Joker last night, who hasn't looked himself like this whole series, but of course he has been playing through an injury I think. But now currently with the Wolves playing without DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards, and the Nuggets like so many of us thought were going to make a deep playoff run, if they can't beat the Wolves without those two, that'd be a massive disappointment. Now I like seeing how Mike Conley's been getting some burn I'm also like a huge fan of Bones Highland, one of the shiftiest players in the league. But of course, over the weekend, it was Ayo Dosunmu, who put up 43 points on 13 of 17 shooting. He was insane. And he also did it off the bench. His speed and scoring ability have been on full display so far in this playoffs. And of course, Rudy Gobert has been playing some of the best defense of his career, and he's been earning his 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now I do have to say, I'm sorry that I underestimated this Wolves team. I definitely should have known better based on last year's playoffs, when this team beat my Lakers. This team is physical and built for the playoffs. Jaden McDaniels has backed up his trash talk and he's been balling out on both ends. Naz Reid has been cooking too, but he might be hurt. And Julius Randle's been playing great too, as he's one of those guys who's built for the playoffs, body wise and game wise too. All that said, I don't think the series is over yet. I think we're going to 7 here. And as we know, anything could happen in a game 7, especially with the best player in the world on the Nuggets. And also playoff closer in Jamal Murray. Denver, of course, hasn't looked themselves so far this playoffs, but a big win last night could maybe jumpstart some things. The Thunder beat the Suns. I don't have too much to say there, other than Lou Dort is a very dirty player, and the NBA should take action on him. But having said that, I did expect Thunder to dominate that series, and they did. Furthermore, the Spurs took a 3-1 lead over the Blazers the other night. That series though has flipped back and forth in my mind several times now. I thought that when Wemby went down, the Blazers had a real shot to flip the script. But of course, in came Dylan Harper, who scored 27 off the bench. And Stephon Castle put up 30 plus in that game himself. And now currently I'm back to my original thoughts, which are that the Blazers are a good team and a good story. But are likely going to be more ready next year, I think. I think that team is just slightly ahead of schedule. Now they have had some good chances. Denny played a great game the other night. Drew Holiday's been playing incredible this whole playoffs. But they of course blew 2 big second half leads and Wemby caught fire. I like Holiday, I like Grant, I like Denny's game. But this team hasn't had the answers for Fox, Castle, Harper, and Wemby of course too. Portland has just simply blown too many leads and blew all their chances. As far as I saw it, they had to win game 4 and they couldn't do that. Now a series that has actually recently defied my initial thoughts. The Raptors tied things up at 2-2 over the weekend against the Cavs. The Cavs, of course, came out hot in that series, with everything flowing with Mitchell and Harden. But they've actually kind of been exposed as being a soft team on the inside. Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, and RJ Barrett have been having their way inside. While, of course, Harden has been having some sloppy turnovers, and Donovan Mitchell's been off with his shooting recently, too. I thought that the Cavs had that series in the bag, but now it looks like the series is going 7. If the Cavs can't even get out of the first round with Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, it might be time to blow things up and change up that roster after this season. But having said that, I'm still picking the Cavs to win that series. Just simply because of experience. The Knicks tied up the series with the Hawks after that monster triple-double performance coming from Karl Anthony Towns. OG's been playing great all series, but I'm still waiting on Mikal Bridges to have his impact. The Knicks, of course, have had their hands full with CJ McCollum, a certified baller in my opinion. And I'm also waiting on Brunson to have one of his 35-point or 40-point massive games too. But right now that team has been flowing through Cat. Now of course, having said that, the defense on Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jalen Johnson, and CJ McCollum is going to have to be stellar. But as I said from the start, I do predict the Knicks are going to win that series. It's just not going to be an easy one though. The Celtics 76ers series appears to be over basically. I don't see the Sixers making a comeback here. Now that team has actually given more fight than I expected coming in. I didn't foresee Edgecombe and Maxey getting that one game. But Tatum is almost back to full strength as a kid, a 30-point performance. Jaylen Brown has been shooting incredible. And of course, Peyton Pritchard off the bench finally had his great game the other night. And if the 76ers can't win with Joel Embiid there, I don't see them making a comeback. I think that series is over. And finally, for my favorite series and my favorite team, the Lakers are of course up 3-1. Now I do think Game 4 was a fluke from them. LeBron was clearly tired and fatigued after playing all those minutes in Game 3. Now something I love seeing was Bronny. When he came in there, he started making things happen. He had 5 points, 4 assists in his minutes. But from their starters, DeAndre Ayton was the only bright spot in that game. before getting tossed, which I thought was a bit excessive. Now in that game, the Rockets actually did what they should have done all series, which is run the offense through Alper and Şengün. Of course, Reed Shepherd had a better shooting night. Amen Thompson had a big game, and also the defensive play of Tari Eason, who had 20 points and 5 steals. And also he along with Jabari Smith were able to force LeBron into 8 turnovers. I can't see the Lakers blowing the series, and if they did, I'd be really pissed. But of course, if they need him, it looks like Reeves is basically ready to go. But I'm hoping they could save him a bit more, because if they do advance in the series, they're going to have to face the Thunder, who are a whole different beast, a whole different animal. So clean up the sloppy play, get back to getting good looks for Luke Kennard. Hopefully Marcus Smart stays aggressive, Rui gets his shots, Vando comes off the bench, plays great defense, Bronny comes in and gives him some solid minutes. And this team should be able to get the win in advance to the Thunder series. But you don't want to keep them in it too long, especially because KD might be coming back. But I'm saying it now, Lakers in 5. Now on to the baseball world. My favorite team, the Yankees, moved up to 19-10 on the season so far. Aaron Judge went 3 for 3 and hit his 11th homer of the season. Ben Rice hit his 10th homer of the season too last night. Jazz has been slowly making a comeback, he sees 3 home runs in his last 5 games, as well as a bunch of stolen bases. Max Fried has 2 straight scoreless pitching outings, and I like how the Yankees are looking after slow starts to the season. Now on the other side of New York, the Mets, who despite breaking their horrendous losing streak, lost 2 in a row to the Rockies in that doubleheader. And the only team who seems to be rivaling them in the basement has been the Phillies, who of course fired their manager today. But putting it quite simply, the Mets can't hit. Soto comes back, Lindor gets hurt, Simeon can't buy a hit, Bichette has definitely been playing through an injury. The one bright spot though recently has been Nolan McLean, who's been experimenting with a delayed windup. His curveballs and sliders have been insane. He has so much movement in all of his pitches. He's the real deal. But the Mets are gonna have to find a way to start hitting and putting some runs on the board. And now for some other big baseball stories from this week. Fernando Tatis has 0 homers this season, and yet the Padres are still 9 games over 500. Max Fried's past 2 starts, 14 innings pitched, 7 hits, no runs, 14 strikeouts. Of course, Paul Skeens has been back to doing what he does best, which is striking guys out and barely giving up any runs. He currently has the lowest opponent batting average among pitchers, with a 141. Jose Soriano has a 143 average against him. Shohei Ohtani has an 880 OPS and a .38 ERA as a pitcher. Munetaka Murakami is now the MLB leader in home runs as he hit his 12th of the season last night. He's been scorching hot. Mason Miller's scoreless streak ended, but could that have been due to the umpire making a horrible call on that should have been foul ball? It is of course up for debate. Anyways, that's your sports recap for the week. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's finish up the video now. Anyways, that's the video. If you guys liked what you heard, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding, catch you next time. Peace.